Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm a little late today. We had an outside need, and my coffee hadn't finished, and I can't do this without coffee. Sorry. So, anyway, well, I could, but it wouldn't be pretty. All righty. So, another week, another chance to be disappointed with humanity. However, we are children of God, and we are excited. Yes, we are. We are excited that God has everything under control. And if we don't believe that, we are mentally in pain right now. Okay. So, hope everybody had a good weekend, had a great time at church. Um, yeah. Cheers. Anyway, so what's in for this week besides um, God trying to impress upon you that hell is not a viable option for people that don't like heat? So, this is a good witness tool. If you think this is hot, or if you don't like hot weather, God has a plan for you. Hey, it's cheesy, whatever it takes, right? I'm there. It's good. Um, we some people like to call summer hell's waiting room, but um, Denise says I have to stop. But all the people that keep saying how wonderful cold weather is, I'm getting back at you because I like hot weather. So, um, Denise says, well, if you keep calling it hell's waiting room, I'm going to tell you to go there. See, she doesn't like super hot, but she doesn't like super cold either. So I don't get the option of one or the other. She doesn't like either one. She's an equal opportunity weather hater. She likes right in the middle. That's her favorite. Alrighty. Daily texts. Psalm 46:7. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Boy, that's appropriate, isn't it? Uh, and I gotta say that in spite of the fact that people go to church and they say they pray and they say they read their Bible, this is a good reminder that God isn't limited. Good morning, Mom. Um, God doesn't stop in the church parking lot and wave goodbye. He goes with us. He's with us at home. He's with us at the grocery store. He's with us on the highway. We just don't act like it. Okay. And that's kind of a shame because he's a pretty good companion. All right. And God is not the co-pilot if we give him the wheel. You know, I know it's kind of a cheesy title for a country song, but Jesus Take the Wheel is not a bad prayer. Okay. All right. Mark 6:34. As Jesus went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. When you put your trust in something other than God, you are always going to be disappointed, not just a little bit. You're going to um, be grossly disappointed. So, what does that tell you? If you're basically putting all your eggs in the basket called this life, and making idols out of mere mortals, you're going to be disappointed. Okay. And it's not the person's fault who you're worshiping. It's your fault because you've chosen something that is not going to cut it. Okay. And a lot of people put themselves in that position, and that's actually original sin, wanting to be like God and being your own little pompous deity. You know, and you've met these people, my way or the highway. I know what's best. They don't take into account God may have a different plan. And you know what? You just have to love them and work around them because they're going to be that way till God straightens them out. And unfortunately, how God is going to straighten them out is probably not going to be very pretty. So it'd be a good idea for you to stick around and help them pick up the pieces. Anyway, let's pray. Compassionate Lord, I still need you to be my shepherd. Thank you for knowing all your sheep. You call me by name in the midst of the crowd. Forgive me when I don't want to be with others or to be their refuge. Create in me your compassion to make time for others today. Well, you know what? I don't know if I agree with this prayer completely. I'm not supposed to be other people's refuge. God is their refuge. I am there. I can be support. And you know what? Everybody needs alone time every now and then to regroup and refresh and spend time with Jesus. Okay. But the last part. Good morning. Create in me your compassion to make time for others today. That's kind of important. All right. So, all right, real quick. We need to move on. Today is the 15th of July. And if you've got this book and you've been reading along, you know that the excerpts are from A Grief Observed. C.S. Lewis had a very close relationship with his wife, closer than most people have. And he really, really, really grieved when she died. Okay. This is called Tenderly, Tenderly, from A Grief Observed. Lewis, grieving the death of his wife, Joy. What does it matter how this grief of mine evolves or what I do with it? What does it matter how I remember her or whether I remember her at all? None of these alternatives will either ease or aggravate her past anguish. Her past anguish. How do I know that all her anguish is past? I never believed before. I thought it immensely improbable that the faithfulest soul could leap straight into perfection and peace the moment death has rattled in the throat. It would be wishful thinking with a vengeance to take up that belief now. He was a splendid thing, a soul straight, bright, and tempered like a sword, but not a perfected saint. A sinful woman married to a sinful man, two of God's patients not yet cured. I know that there are not only tears to be dried, but stains to be scoured. The sword will be made even brighter. but oh God, tenderly, tenderly. All right. I kind of disagree. Well, I don't kind of. I disagree with Lewis on this one. I think we walk from imperfection to perfection. I think that's the biblical promise. But you have to understand this guy was grieving, he was processing the loss, and having had to process a difficult loss, I will tell you that not everything you think and feel during that time probably needs to be consumed by the general public. Okay. Lewis, however, chose to eloquently share his process. That's on him. Okay. I chose not to. So, and Denise is even more private than I am. So, people ask us, how did you deal with that? How did you get through it? The only answer is God. Jesus took us by the hand, led us to the throne, sat us on his Father's lap, and just held us, because it's the only way I can explain it. Okay. All right. C.S. Lewis, Aslan. Okay. This is from the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and it's called The Helpful Dragon. It was, however, clear to everyone that Eustace's character had been rather improved by becoming a dragon. He was anxious to help. He flew over the whole island and found it was all mountainous and inhabited only by wild goats and droves of wild swine. Of these he brought back many carcasses as provisions for the ship. He was a very humane killer, too, for he could dispatch a beast with one blow of his tail, so that it didn't know, and presumably still doesn't know, it had been killed. He ate a few himself, of course, but always alone. For now that he was a dragon, he liked his food raw, but he could never bear to let others see him at his messy meals. And one day, flying slowly and wearily, but in great triumph, he bore back to camp a great tall pine tree, which he had torn up by the roots in a distant valley, which could be made into a capital mast. And in the evening, if it turned chilly, as sometimes it did after the heavy rains, he was a comfort to everyone, for the whole party would come and sit with their backs against his hot sides and get well warmed and dried, and one puff of his breath would light the most obstinate fire. Sometimes he would take a select party for a fly on his back, so that they could see wheeling down below them the green slopes, the rocky heights, the narrow pit-like valleys, and far out over the sea to the eastward, a spot of darker blue on the blue horizon, which might be land. The pleasure, quite new to him, of being liked, and still more of liking other people, was what kept Eustace from despair, for it was very dreary being a dragon. Okay, what might be turned into why might being turned into a dragon finally make the sulky and reluctant Eustace a help to the rest of the sailing party? Well, first of all, I would say it was because he wasn't rejected by everybody else. They understood his predicament as being pretty serious, and he was so despairing that he couldn't hide it. All right. And he was willing to share and, in a way, confess what was going on with him. How must Eustace feel to be liked and to like others for the first time? It's amazing. Okay. The kid who's always bullied, made fun of, ignored, to suddenly be found to be useful and actually well liked for the efforts and being recognized for putting forth good effort, um, is going to feel wonderful. Okay. Being accepted and liked is actually a core need of even the crankiest of people, because that's what's made them cranky. Wow. Okay. Oh, and they may think people are silly and not worth their time, but they do. Everybody needs human companionship in some way, shape, or form. They just may not know it. Okay. All right. Let's pray. Jesus, I live this day for you. Please guide, protect, and help me to love others as you love me. You all have a great day. Keep out of trouble. And we'll see you tomorrow. You too.